A to the K.
A to the K.
A to the K.
Hello, live from the illustrious homes of Carl and Anthony. It's the second annual A to the Knies. Cue the music. There we go. Music's finished. Yay.
Wow,
So-
we're back now for another year. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
The
You know,
second
year
annual
ago.
A to the Knies, Anthony.
I honestly, I feel underdressed.
I know, right?
I feel like maybe I should have wore a tux.
I know, yeah.
I kid. I wouldn't want to infringe on gimmicks. We see you. Rewind, recap, relive.
We're with you. You know, you could have loaned us, the tux like we asked, but it's fine.
Honestly, I feel like maybe we should have asked him to come and announce some awards.
I know, yeah.
He already fits the bill, you know. Anyway,
He's dressed for the occasion, if you will.
indeed.
Yeah, Anthony, we're back. We are back for the second annual A to the Knies, the most prestigious awards in all of professional wrestling. And what a lineup we have for you all.
Unbelievable. I mean, what a year we've had. You know, so many deserving categories, so many deserving people, and just who'd have thought in the space of a year so much had changed.
Oh yeah, it's been a roller coaster. So obviously, if you join us for the very first A to the Knies, you'll see some surprising things this evening in terms of some evolutions of people who were maybe previously breakout stars that may have now be
Evolution.
yeah, Motorhead. I mean, that's what we need. We need like a Legends wing or something, or
I love it.
We need something like that. We'll do that for next year.
I'm waiting for year 10 when we've got a guest band. You know.
Oh yeah. I can't wait for this. It's going to be great. we are going to take this to the global stages eventually.
Damn right.
I feel like we
Look
need to
out
get
for TV.
we need to get Ricky Gervais to come on and just do the opening monologue for this.
Yeah, it's just I don't care.
They're not going to have me back again for a fourth year. Fuck it. Just say something ridiculously offensive to somebody, and it'll be fun for all. But yeah, so we are back.
Why are you booing? He was your friend.
That
so
was
savage.
that was bad. I like a drink as much as the next guy. And that's that guy's Mel Gibson.
I love how you sipped your drink with that as well. Nice.
Oh yeah, you had to.
Anyway, to announce the first award, Mel Gibson.
What? No, don't talk about Jesus.
So I'm thinking next year, because we'll have to do it next year. I'm thinking next year we've got two options, right? We can either actually have some guests announce awards, or we can do some really bad takes on some impressions.
Okay.
Your choice.
Why not both? I think.
Wrestling impressions, you know?
I like it.
How good is your Miz? Because we could maybe have the Miz announce an award. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, my Miz isn't great, unfortunately. I can do an okay Macho Man. Try that.
Oh, I like it.
Obviously, we're in with Lanny Poffo as well, his brother, so, I'm sure he can, do something there. So
yeah, but I think we'll only be in, we get along well with Lanny. He was an absolutely amazing guest. I feel like we might fracture that a little bit if you keep trying to do an impression of the Macho Man.
Yeah, maybe
He did a cracking impression of the Macho Man, to be fair. And if anyone could, it'd be his brother. He did a cracking impression of the Macho Man.
It is true. So
Anthony,
Anthony,
that's a digression. Anyway,
without further ado, shall we chat about the first award of the evening, the first illustrious A to the K need to give out for 2021?
So hit us with our first category, Carl.
Our first category is Male Wrestler of the Year.
That's
the
what we're going
nominees.
with the ended categories, Carl.
Well, yeah, that might change for next year. We don't know how the world will change. But still, for this year, we're going to go with the Male Wrestler of the Year. And the nominees are Big E, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, and Roman Reigns.
Oh, a tough choice indeed.
A tough choice indeed. Let's do the little drum roll. And the winner is Roman Reigns, male wrestler
hang
of
on,
the
let's
year.
do that.
I'll do the other one. What the fuck?
I love it. I mean, honestly, I think we can both agree on this one. Roman has had such a transformation in the last year alone, in terms of his character, in terms of his ability on the mic and everything. It's just insane. Like, remember a time when John Cena was cutting a promo on him because he couldn't fucking talk, and then a year later we have like him almost, okay, might be a polarizing one, but almost out talking John Cena himself. It's absolute transformation. He's a fantastic heel. Totally deserves male wrestler of the year as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we speak every week that he is SmackDown. SmackDown is a terrible show when he's not on the show, in the few times that he's not been there. So that just goes to show, how far he has come. And I think, going back to that, far.
It's an award show, Carl, but still don't have the maturity level quite right yet.
I don't care. It's your friend. But no, I think, to your point, it goes to show, obviously, that promo where he got annihilated by Cena, and then the fact this year he could kind of hold his own. He's literally been the most refreshing thing about WWE all year. And, he's held the title for a significantly, long period of time. So
longer than Punk, some might say.
Longer than Punk. It's definitely more than the summer. Yes. So fair play. Roman Reigns, male wrestler of the year. Very well deserved. Toast from A2THEK. Congratulations.
Hang on, sorry, I'm not as fancy as Carl. I know it's an award ceremony.
There you go.
And you know what, Roman, we'll send you the award in the post.
Yeah, we will.
We understand. We're in the UK. Not everyone can make it. In fact, I don't think anyone can make it.
No.
But
didn't return our calls.
No.
Yeah. What are we going to do with all them awards?
Most of them said, I'm sorry, we don't accept messages. It's like, okay.
Yeah, we tried. Yeah, so we could. Congratulations, Roman Reigns, male wrestler of the year. Can't think of anyone more deserving, so well done to the big dog himself.
Indeed.
Certainly is head of the table, if you will, especially in these awards. The next category that we're going to take you through is female wrestler of the year, Anthony. And the nominees are, we have Bianca Belair, we have Britt Baker, DMD, we have Charlotte Flair, and we have La Mera Mera herself, Thunder Rosa.
I was about to rage. Thunder's got to be on there. I don't know who's going to win this, but if she's not at least a nominee, then you know how I feel about that.
Okay. Well, the 12-second drum roll will begin right now. It is, of course, Britt Baker, DMD, female wrestler of the year. I love it. I fucking love it. I'm gonna put my drink down to join in with this. Like, yeah.
Okay.
It's gotta be done.
Honestly, I've said it before. I'll say it again. I feel Thunder should always win this award. But can't argue. Britt, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl. Previously our Breakout star of the year.
She was indeed. And previously Thunder Rosa was our female wrestler of the year as well. So
what a year Britt's had. I mean, not only that, we've met her, so obviously,
that helps.
Well, we'll let her win now. I'm kidding. Totally deserved. Been absolutely killing it in her run as the women's champion, and honestly, everything leading up to that was just fantastic as well. Yeah. And we can't wait to see what else she does. Definitely the right call.
100%. I think, nobody in the women's division has kind of come on as much in a year as Britt Baker has, character-wise. Some of the matches she's had, like the Lights Out match with Thunder Rosa, other hardcore matches that she's had with like Thumbtacks and shit, like Ty Conti match and stuff like that. So
use Thumbtacks. I've not seen that one.
Oh yeah, Thumbtacks. He's a indie guy. But no, legit. I think thoroughly well deserved. Obviously, she's lovely in person as well. Nice to meet her at Wales Comic Con. But to your point, that didn't obviously have anything didn't sway us in any way. I think this was a clear winner for us, regardless. There's been some phenomenal performances, Bianca Belair as well, for example. But Britt Baker just takes it for us. The length of time she's been champion, the way she's branched out into doing the kind of talk show segments and the backstage stuff, and things like that. I think she. And
that's some would argue Bianca, and it was a really tough call because Bianca's had a hell of a year. But like you say, there's just so many factors in it, and especially in her title run, it just not in a disrespectful way, but just uncomparable.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, congratulations. We will do a toast once again to Britt Baker, DMD. Congratulations.
Clink.
Right in your face. So Anthony, the next award of the evening. We're going to go with Tag Team of the Year.
Okay.
The nominees.
I have some feelings on this. Let's see what happens.
The nominees are the Lucha Bros, RK Bro, the Usos, and the Young Bucks. Any thoughts, Anthony, before we do the big drum roll reveal? A lot of bros in there. Lucha Bros.
Personally, for me, Carl, Lucha Bros. Got to be Lucha Bros.
Mm.
All absolutely fantastic candidates, but I think Lucha Bros, they deserve the title win. They've been absolutely fantastic. I dare say I've never seen a match that I haven't enjoyed with them in.
That's a very good point, to be fair. We have the Usos as well, obviously. Jimmy Uso coming back this year. The Young Bucks being champions for a significant amount of time. And RK Bro capturing the hearts of the public over the last.
Because honestly, this is the thing, this is why they're tough choices. This is why they're all nominees. But some of the reason I think Lucha Bros, I always lean towards Lucha Bros, is look at the Usos as an example. I mean, we had a significant amount of time where Jimmy wasn't there, and it was fantastic. CJ excel as a solo talent, but and they are killing it as a tag team now. But when it comes to sort of factoring tag team of this year, I think there's only one right choice for me. So
okay, well let's see
wait a breath, Carl.
Let's see what the result is, Anthony. Let's hit that drum roll. The winners are RK Bro. Oh, Anthony's devastated by this news. RK Bro, take it home this year. Very that was an admirable that was an admirable losing pose.
Thanks. Honestly, fair enough. I have my own opinion on it. This isn't just down to my opinion, as is quite evident. But RK Bro, I mean, what a feel good tag team at the end of the day. No one expected. I certainly didn't expect it to work as a team. They have both fucking killed it, and they're so endearing every week. They work fantastically together. So whilst I made my choice clear before this, absolutely well deserved, and they are a fantastic tag team.
No, definitely. I think, just on that as well, obviously, me and Anthony have had our inputs into this, but obviously we cast the net out wide as well on Instagram and other social medias, just to get, people's feedback on this. Anthony just gets, ridiculously drunk now. But it's an award show. It's what we do. But no, I think, fair play to RK Bro. Interestingly, the only team nominated who weren't real life brothers as well, despite them being called RK Bro. So fair play for them to win the award.
In there for everyone.
Well, exactly. Didn't even need Road Dogg for that one. But no, I think you've got to say they've been an absolute delight to watch over the last year. I think they've told probably the most cohesive story as a tag team, where they've kind of come from enemies through to finding that mutual respect, through to kind of being bros at the end of the day. So it's been one of the bright spots on a very dark floor over the last year. So fair play.
Lighting issues. Play with lighting issues. Day one. Yeah.
That's it. So yeah, congratulations, RK Bro. They are A2THEK's Tag Team of the Year, winners of the A2THEK Clink again. So the next category is the Shockmaster Award for Botch of the Year. And we've got some interesting choices here, Anthony. So the nominees are AEW's Exploding Barbed Wire Deathmatch that didn't explode. We have the Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens handcuff incident, where it took an absolute eternity to uncuff Roman from the, was it a last man standing match? It was like, well, why can't you win it then?
It might have been a street fight, but yeah, something like that,
yeah,
wasn't it?
Same thing. We had Mandy Rose slipping on her ass at WrestleMania. And we had Chris Jericho falling from the cell onto a dangerous landing pit of, bouncy cardboard. Any immediate thoughts, Anthony, before we reveal the winner on this one?
There are ones I would like to defend, like, in a way. Now, any one of these deserves to be in the list in some sense. However, whilst I can't pick a particular winner personally for me, one that I would be surprised if it won would be the Jericho spot. And that's because, arguably speaking, that was executed right. It was the camera angle that was the botch. And I don't think that's fair. Well, it's still a botch by all means, but it's not like the rest of them are, like the wrestlers, fucked up in some way. Whereas that spot was hit right, Jericho hit the landing right, but they made it way too obvious what he landed on, and that's down to sort of camera angles and that sort of thing. So while still a botch, that would probably be my least favourite to win this. And I only talk about that one because it's a tough choice. I haven't actually got a particular winner. I mean, they're all really solid choices for the Shockmaster Award.
Absolutely.
Do you have a particular favourite, Colin?
I mean, I think all of them are worthwhile, of course. I think my immediate favourite, watching it live, probably the worst one, the most excruciating, was the handcuff thing. I was like, oh shit. But
there was a moment there where you're like, they're even going to be able to fix this?
Yeah. But yeah, I think they're all worthwhile contenders in their own right. So I think, obviously, anyone who watched last year knows that the Matt Sydal shooting star press failure was the winner of the Shockmaster Award last year. So let's see whether it goes to WWE or whether AEW brings it home for a second year in a row. Drum roll, please. It is the graphic says RK Bro. I don't know why it says that, but still, the image that you can see is, of course, the exploding barbed wire deathmatch from Revolution, and I think the right choice.
Definitely, I think this was probably the. In all fairness, like, it probably was the big, like, I suppose because of the suspense they built for the explosion, it probably was the most notable botch, really, as far as memory. Like the Mandy one, you kind of forget about, you know what I mean? And the handcuff thing didn't affect the overall match as much as the finish to this one. So, yeah, fair enough. I get that. I get why that's been chosen by the public.
I mean, obviously watching this was very underwhelming, wasn't it? And the thing that jumps out to me was somebody edited Eddie Kingston's Wikipedia page to say that he died from humiliation. I think it was like he died.
Yeah, they need to dive over him.
Yeah, it was like he dived on him, didn't need to protect him, and it was like on Wikipedia, Eddie Kingston passed away today from humiliation and light sparklers or something like that, and it was fucking brilliant.
It was bad.
But yeah, it's one of them. It's at a time where you've got to obviously protect the wrestlers and put their welfare first. Obviously, we had stuff with Matt Hardy and the concussion, and we'd had a couple of different things in AEW, and then obviously yeah, this just didn't seem to go to plan, unfortunately. Tony Khan said that the explosion was meant to be significantly bigger, but it just didn't happen. So, is what it is. It ended up looking a little bit silly in the end, but you can't argue that it was a pretty horrendous botch at the end of the day. So,
congratulations, AEW, 2 years in a row.
2 years, guys. Well done. Really, fanning the flames there of the WWE trolls, aren't we? But still, can't argue. It was definitely botch of the year.
No one can say that we're not fair. We call a botch a botch. We give criticism where there's criticism. We are not fanboys for one particular show.
That's it. Call it right down the middle. Right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
So the next category, Anthony, for the A2THEKnies this year is the Roddy Piper Award for the Talker of the Year.
Some really solid candidates this year, Carl. You haven't listed them yet, but I can probably name about 3 off the top of my fucking head straight out the gate.
Okay. Let's see whether those 3 are who you're thinking of. So the nominees are CM Punk, Edge, MJF, and Paul Heyman.
I mean, honestly, on some level, you could call this a Paul Heyman award. It's got to be the Roddy Piper award, but I'm just saying Paul Heyman is a renownedly great talker, so how could he not be listed when he's actively on TV at the moment?
It is true. Definitely one of the great talkers. But the question is, who's taken home the A2THEKnie for 2021 for the Roddy Piper Award of Talker of the Year? Drum roll, please. Maxwell, Jacob Friedman.
What?
We will now take a short intermission while Anthony cleans his television.
I actually don't know how I'm going to top that one, sorry.
MJF, of course it is. Talker of the Year, Anthony. In my opinion, very well-deserved award. I don't think there's anybody who has crucified people on the microphone this year as much as MJF, despite him saying on the stick, which I know you're not a big fan of.
I don't like the term on the stick, I will be honest about that. But I do think in terms of because Heyman, you could argue, some may argue that he is a better. Yeah, you know what I'm doing.
Sorry, Anthony's just cleaning.
Things I do for a slight joke that no one's going to notice because we're an audio podcast. Anyway, yeah, but Heyman is one who I don't know, we're used to him being a good talker. That sounds like a bad way of putting it. Do you know what I mean? Well, he shouldn't win because we're used to it. But I think Jeff has excelled himself this year and really proven. He's always been a good talker, but I think he's really excelled himself this year and proven how much of a good talker he is. And genuinely all round how much of a star he is and could be. So, yeah, totally agree. If he stopped saying the stick, he'd be perfect.
No, I think it's interesting because Paul Heyman has spoken significantly less this year because Roman's been doing a lot of the talking. So I think that could have a part to play. But yeah, ultimately, every time MJF gets that microphone, you just know there's going to be some absolute savageness coming. So fair play, absolutely the best talk in the business right now.
To be honest, the hype alone on people being it's Punk and MJF, the hype alone around that just shows you how much people think of what he can do on the mic.
Oh, yeah, exactly. I mean, people used to view CM Punk as a god, on the microphone, the pipe bomb and all that kind of stuff. So for MJF to have built up that kind of we have to see MJF versus Punk, just goes to show how far he is up there already. So absolutely deserved A2THEKnie winner for the Talker of the Year, the Roddy Piper Award for 2021. Well done to MJF. Cheers to him. So the next award, Anthony, we are going with the surprise of the year. And it may be no surprise to you all to know that they are all AEW moments. Because WWE ain't been that surprising. Really.
Well, they have been quite surprising, Carl, but I don't think it's fair that you give them an award for surprisingly releasing talent. That's not true. Quite what the award's about.
That is true. And maybe, obviously Becky Lynch coming back, but I think that was documented ahead of time as well, so
I think that was, it's similar to, and he might be a nominee, so apologies for this, but it's similar to people talking so much about Punk that it kind of took away from the surprise a little bit. I think it was still probably more surprising than the Becky Lynch situation because no one knew if Punk was coming back, whereas Becky was definitely coming back, we just didn't know when. Yeah. But even so, it's kind of similar that there was that much talk around it. It wasn't particularly surprising.
Yeah, definitely. I think Becky's obviously signed to the company, so for CM Punk, he wasn't attached to wrestling at that point. He'd walked away from it for so many years. Similar,
yeah,
but
people were talking, but they were talking out of hope, and it just happened to be true.
Exactly. So let's talk the nominees then, Anthony. They're all AEW. So the nominees for the surprise of the year, we do have CM Punk.
Naturally.
We have Bryan Danielson. We have Adam Cole. And we have Malachi Black. All AEW candidates.
Honestly, I'll give you. Do you want my personal opinion on this?
Yeah, give me.
Bryan was more shocking.
For me, it was actually Adam Cole.
Really?
I still get goosebumps to this day when I watch Adam Cole's debut because
his was awesome, but I think because they sort of did it in tandem, I wasn't expecting Bryan.
Yeah. I mean to be fair, I think Cole was the swerve. So I think either of those, because you had Cole as the swerve, which I just legit wasn't expecting. Then obviously everyone was thinking it was going to be Danielson. Then it was like, oh, it's Cole, so we're not getting Danielson. And then we did get Danielson. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what does it. Like Cole's was definitely. Like, it was definitely a great moment, and arguably for other reasons it was a better moment. But in terms of the more surprising, I think because we just had Cole, like no one expected Danielson to come out as quick as he did afterwards. So I would argue that's probably the most surprising if we're going in the full spirit of what this award is. Mm-hmm. Because even the Punk stuff was talked about and rumoured before that. Don't be wrong, people have been talking about Bryan as well. But it was people were so ready that they had to open the show with Punk, or it was just going to be Punk chants all night. But yeah, Bryan, just at the moment he hit it, for me it was quite probably the most surprising of the night.
Yeah, even Malachi Black as well. Just the lights going down, and then it comes back up, and it's like Malachi Black's in the ring, and obviously we weren't expecting him to show up at all either during that time.
This is where Malachi probably deserves more credit than I'm giving him because. I'm bigger on Malachi now than I was, but when he showed up, it was, for me at the time, it was like, yay, he's proven that he's such a great talent. But at the time, I wasn't overly big on him. So when he turned, you know what I mean? It'd be like who's been released recently that I don't care about. But yeah, it'd be like Kyle O'Reilly turning up next week.
Yeah,
I'd be like, oh, cool. Right, he could go on to have a fantastic career in AEW, and I'd be so amazed and so hyped and such a big fan. But right now, again, it is a personal thing, but I wouldn't be like bothered. And I think I kind of had that vibe with Malachi, which he definitely doesn't deserve because he's proven that he doesn't deserve that. But I think when we're talking about sort of what surprised me the most, he probably doesn't get as much credit as he deserves.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Definitely fair. So let's see who is going to take home the A2THEK for surprise of the year. Drum roll, please. Didn't press the button.
Oh, okay. Now some quiet time.
And the winner is... Oh god, everything's gone wrong. What's happening? Oh no.
I think I know who's winning the Shockmaster award next year.
Oh, me too. What's going on? Sorry, some technical difficulties right now. I think I somehow set off some kind of automation on the slideshow.
Oh no.
So it moved on a little bit.
You revealed everything.
It's cool. I think. Maybe. Let's see. Surprise of the year is CM Punk returns.
Fair enough. Probably the biggest pop in general. Again, I'll probably argue it might not have been the biggest surprise, but I think even with all the talk around it, no one truly expected it until it happened because there's been talk around it since he left WWE. So we're talking about him returning to WWE since he left WWE. So
yeah,
I think there's a large. It's just talk. So yeah, he does deserve that.
Yeah, I think now, especially in like the internet age, it's really hard to keep surprises. Actual surprises. I think a lot of people were talking
Winter
about.
Thunder has just debuted on Winter Is Coming episode of Dynamite, and no one saw that coming.
I mean, yeah,
I kid,
we'll
of course. This
we'll
has
see
been
whether that
before
comes
Dynamite. If I happen to be right, that was just a random guess.
Yeah. But I mean, to be fair, like everybody spoke about Daniel Bryan at the time going to AEW. People, were predicting about Malachi Black and Adam Cole. So I think everybody kind of have inklings now about who's going to go somewhere. But I think CM Punk has always been a pipe dream. I remember when they announced the future Hall of Fame talent, and everyone was like, "Could that mean CM Punk is coming back?" And everyone, we even spoke about it, and everyone was like, "No, he's never coming back to wrestling." So
who did we get for that future Hall of Fame talent?
It was Christian. You know exactly who it was.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Fuck off.
Why wasn't he in the awards? That was surprising.
Shut up.
Why wasn't Mark Henry? That was surprising.
Why are you being this way?
I have no idea.
But yeah, no, I think it goes to show that at that time everyone was like, no, obviously it won't be CM Punk. He's done with wrestling, and then literally a matter of months later he's back. So it was surprising that he's ever decided to come back to wrestling because he was done with it. So I guess that's why he gets the surprise of the year. So the next one, which you've probably already seen now. You've probably already seen if you're watching YouTube. You will have seen who won it and everything. But still, we're going to go with Breakout Star of the Year. So just play along, guys, if you saw this already because of my terrible botch.
Well, let's go through the motions, shall we, Carl?
Yeah, might as well. So Breakout Star of the Year, we've got Braun Breaker. We've got Dante Martin. We've got Damian Priest, who definitely didn't win it. And we've got Jungle Boy. So we may as well just, do the drum roll before we even talk about it.
Sure.
Because people have seen it, Anthony.
I mean, if I had to guess, Carl, I would say Damian Priest.
Can you read minds, Anthony? It is, of course, Damian Priest, Breakout Star of the Year.
I'm curious, Carl. I know I told you what my choices were. I know you made it clear what your choices were. This was everyone's choice. This was the public as well.
It certainly was, yeah. It was an interesting one.
I don't know why it surprised me, but I'm actually quite surprised that because there's been so many people who are like so big on Braun Breaker, and I've said a couple of times that I'm sure he's going to be a star, but he hasn't done anything yet, and I feel like he was getting overhyped almost. Damien, since he hit the main roster especially, has been killing it. So I'm pleased to see that certainly our wrestling community sees that as well. Totally deserved.
It was definitely a polarizing one, I think. We had a couple of messages from people saying that he's definitely not a breakout star. He's already big on NXT and so on and so forth. But I think, to our point, we didn't like him on NXT. He didn't feel like a proper character. He was just like this guy who was there.
NXT have a history of bringing people to the main roster and them flopping. So
yes.
I would consider it. If you come to the main roster and no one who watches it casually, who watches Raw and SmackDown but doesn't watch NXT, knows who he is, he's definitely a breakout star. Like I appreciate where they're coming from. I was a big fan of him on NXT, etc. But where do you draw the line? I was like, well, he's not a breakout star. I used to watch him on Ring of Honor. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. No, he deserves this. Definitely.
I agree.
Never mind the title. He's gonna go home now, knowing that he's won this award. And I like
exactly. The A2THEK of infamy, if you will. Still, massive cheers to Damian Priest. Well deserved. I think anyone who comes up from NXT, as you said, and does well on the main roster, is a bit of a rare occurrence, isn't it? So,
well, do you know what? I saw someone doing the maths on this, and I'd love to quote them. It was a TikTok. Not to sound like an old man. It was one of them TikToks, Carl. And he did the maths on this, and there's actually more people who've succeeded from NXT than you think. But he had to go right back to like Kevin Owens and that being part of that. You know what I mean? And I think there was a time you come up from NXT, it wasn't like the kiss of death. Certainly not the case nowadays. But it's interesting to see that it's not as drastic as you expect it to be in terms of people who failed on the main roster. Although he didn't, he was like, the way he did his maths, I'd slightly disagreed with. No offense to whomever it was. Apologies for not even referencing you. It's bad on my part. But the way he did his maths was like, you know, of the champions we've had since 2014 when NXT started or whatever, you know, we had 18 of those champions. Like, I'm paraphrasing numbers because I can't remember. But he was like, we've had 36 champions in that time, and 18 of them were NXT stars, etc. But what he didn't mention was how many NXT stars actually came up. Do you know what I mean? He was talking about how many of the champions they've had, how many were NXT stars, but he weren't talking about how many people have actually come up from NXT and gone on to be champions, which I think would have been a more accurate statistic. But even so, it's impressive to see that there are some really good success stories. So slight digression.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know.
No, I think it's fair. Yeah, definitely well deserving for Damian Priest, I would say.
Indeed.
The next category in the A2THEKnies, we're going to talk.
Why did you emphasise the cat?
Category is going to be match of the year.
This is going to be a tough one, surely.
It is a very tough one to call. So we have, Anthony. The nominees are Seth Rollins versus Edge, a crown jewel in the cage. We have Hangman Adam Page taking on Kenny Omega at Full Gear. We have the lights out match between Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. And we have the cage match between the Lucha Bros and the Young Bucks.
Now, my instinct is to go for the lights out match because I'm a simp, right? But I kid, of course. Thunder's in the list. You got to pick Thunder. That's how I look at it. But joking aside, my instinct would honestly go to Omega and Kenny because that was the payoff to a very, very well told story as far as I'm concerned, and it was something I was ready for him to win, and the right decision was made in the match. The match overall was really good. So my instinct would be that, but I'm really curious to see what the public decided.
Well, Anthony, I can tell you this was a very, very close one. There was a lot of votes for another match on this card that didn't end up going on to win.
Right, okay.
I think our votes outweighed the other one by just a single vote.
Right,
so
okay.
It was us who made this happen.
So I think the other one's probably going to get an honourable mention when we reveal the winner.
Certainly will.
Because I'm super curious.
Drum roll. The winner is Kenny Omega versus Hangman Adam Page.
Okay. Oh, fucking K. Yes.
We did it, Anthony. You and I did it. We swayed this vote.
I need to know because I deliberately swayed the vote. Well, deliberately. I swayed the votes. I made it clear what my choice would have been, and evidently that was so neck and neck that I had actually made a difference what my choice would have been.
Out of curiosity, Anthony, who do you think the runner-up was by a single vote?
I feel like because of the career aspect of it, it might have been Edge and Rollins because obviously people were so, as long with myself, people were so made up to see Edge back in action, and this was a killer match. So I feel like that might have been the one that was so close.
I feel like you might be correct. It absolutely was. That was the runner-up.
Yeah, that probably would have been my second choice. I'm sorry, Thunder. I feel like you should at least win one award a year with us, but you know, I honestly, I feel like that probably would have been my next choice as well, in all fairness.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that it was so neck and neck that like it literally has been our picks that have actually done it.
Yeah. I mean, you and I watched that live together, Crown Jewel. Obviously, we saw that match. And I think the only thing that not the only thing, but something that's worth calling out about that match, as good as it was the fact that there was a bit of a botch, wasn't there, in like the finish of it and stuff. It was just a bit messy towards the end.
There was a couple of little botchy moments, actually, where you knew what they were doing. Like, they had to be very careful with certain chair shots, but they made it a bit too obvious that they were being like, there were a couple of bits, but again, I think you can overlook them in a sense to go, well, Edge is back. That's fucking awesome, right? Because bear in mind, he'd had some time off again after the Rumble, hadn't he? You know, so yeah, it's fantastic to see him in action. Rollins was like literally the best choice they could have made for an opponent for him. So yeah, I totally get that. But Hangman and Omega is a story that had been brewing since AEW's inception, and I feel like it deserves the credit it gets for not only the match itself, but for the build up and payoff to that match as well.
Definitely, I think that is the main reason it won. I think is just the whole storytelling behind it. This was the year-long story of AEW, if not more, of Kenny and Hangman in terms of what they've been through, from the Elite to tag team champions to being left to attempting to beat him and being unsuccessful, the Dark Order, and then to finally get his first world championship after failed opportunities before. So absolutely the match that I think deserves it. Fantastic in ring work quality as well.
Oh, yeah.
It was it's really hard when you're comparing just the in ring aspect of a match, but I think the storytelling in in conjunction with the actual storytelling and in ring kind of stuff that's what makes it. So
totally agree. Yeah.
So yeah, well done, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page winning the match of the year on the second annual A2THEKNIES. The next award of the evening is the most savage moment of the year, Anthony.
Whoa.
Oh.
Okay.
Any that come to mind before I even reveal the nominees?
Honestly, I'm struggling to think. I'm really curious about the nominees. I'm struggling to think of a particularly savage moment.
Okay, so the nominees are Max Caster for his rap, where he mentions your father-in-law. Well,
how could it not have been Max
specifically,
in some capacity?
Specifically the father-in-law comment to Bryan Danielson after all those guys got released. We have CM Punk for calling MJF just a less famous Miz.
Yeah.
We have Roman Reigns referencing Missionary with Nikki Bella with John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And we have MJF for his Brian Pillman Jr. work, Metheny and the like.
Yeah. Some solid choices there, Carl. Again, I will offer my opinion before the announcements, and I will probably personally lean towards, apologies if I didn't do this when we actually put the votes on Instagram, I've slept since then. I would probably lean towards Roman.
Oh, okay. The missionary thing?
Yeah. Can't beat a bit of missionary.
Especially if you're John Cena. It wasn't good enough for Nikki Bella, though. So what I can say is that one was heavily voted for by fans, but was it the winning vote for the A2THEKNIES for most savage moments of the year? Drum roll, please. The winner is less famous Miz from CM Punk.
Okay, I mean, a solid choice. Honestly, I imagine all of them were a bit close to each other. I mean, there was some really savage moments. Max Caster probably could have filled this category by himself.
He certainly could have.
In all fairness, one of the most anticipated promos of the year in a lot of senses, and so many people it was so talked about, that comment after the fact, and whether you love it or hate it, because some people hated it because the WWE reference that apparently you're not allowed to do. But yeah, it's hard to disagree with. It really is.
No, definitely is. It's an interesting one because I think for a lot of people, Punk saying that made them actually go, "Oh shit, he is a bit like The Miz." And it was almost like a bit of a character assassination of MJF, who's trying to come across as this kind of badass guy, whereas comparing to The Miz, rightly or wrongly, because everyone knows that I absolutely love The Miz, but a lot of wrestling fans think of him as he's not a real wrestler or whatever. He's just this this guy. So a bit of a career assassination for MJF from CM Punk, just with one line.
Madness. Well deserved.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, I'll cheers you, CM Punk, but obviously Straight edge didn't really feel right.
My glass is empty, so I'll definitely cheers you because
there you go.
I know it's empty. Like it doesn't look it because apparently I've scratched the hell out of it as well. But
what have you done to that glass?
I've scratched the hell out of it. I just told you.
But how? Okay, so the next award is pay-per-view of the year, Anthony.
Ooh.
Couple of good contenders here. Any come to mind ahead of the nominees?
This might sound weird, and I'm not even sure if it's a nominee, but one of the best pay-per-views WWE put out was actually Crown Jewel.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe at least deserves to be a contender. And I didn't think I'd be saying this because I think that because there was so much controversy around the Saudi shows when they started, you just don't expect Crown Jewel to be up there, but it was probably one of the best booked that WWE had done all year. So I feel like that might be a nominee. I mean, then you look at we've got both Full Gear and All Out really deserve to be in the categories as well. So honestly, tough choice. Do you pick one of the big four? I mean, do you pick WrestleMania? I don't know. It's so tough. Really, we only got 4.
Well, Anthony, I can tell you've got 3 out of the 4 correct there. So the nominees, Anthony, are AEW's All Out, WWE SummerSlam,
Okay.
WWE Crown Jewel,
Okay.
and AEW's Full Gear.
That is tough.
That is pretty tough, to be fair.
That is pretty damn tough.
There's a lot that I like about each of these things. So I think Crown Jewel, obviously, we watched it together. Then we both agreed it was one of the better pay-per-views that we've had in a while.
It really was, yeah.
All Out.
It's better than one of your big 4 being, obviously, Survivor Series most recently. Crown Jewel blew it out the water as far as I'm concerned. When it's hitting better than one of your big 4, it definitely deserves to be listed in this sort of sense, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does. You've got, obviously, All Out in there as well, which a lot of people absolutely loved for the debuts of Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson.
I mean, it was certainly memorable.
SummerSlam, you had Roman Reigns versus John Cena, one of the dream matches.
Dream match, definitely. Yeah.
Full Gear, which obviously had our match of the year as well in there with Hangman and Kenny Omega. So tough choices.
Honestly, I couldn't even go to you. Well, this is what I'd pick. It's such a tough choice. Such a tough choice.
Let's take it to the results. Drum roll, please. The winner of pay-per-view of the year is Full Gear. So this was immensely close. There was a lot of votes across all of the different pay-per-views. And I think this might have been one that we swayed again, Anthony, literally. Both of us put in for Full Gear in our voting.
Okay, probably leading with my heart there and going, no, I really love the payoff of that match.
I mean, to be fair, though,
tough choice.
I think it was actually All Out that was second place. But part of me thinks that if we didn't have them debuts, it wouldn't have been second place. Like, if you look at the actual matches on that card, I don't want to, obviously you had Punk and Darby and you had some good matches on there, but it wasn't better.
I'll give you that. If you look at the
better
card,
than MJF Darby, you know what I mean? It wasn't better than Punk and Kingston. It wasn't better than the main event we had at Full Gear with Hangman and Omega.
No, you're 100% right. I think, like you say, if you look at the card without knowing about any of the surprises, should it rank as high?
Yeah, Britt versus Ty Conti, better than Britt. Who did Britt face it All Out? Can't remember. Which goes to show. So, yeah.
Wasn't
for
Ruby,
me,
was it?
I don't think it was. I think it was on like a random episode of
because Ruby had to win a title shot first, didn't she?
Yeah. I'm not too sure who she faced, but
memorable.
Yeah, for me, Full Gear, definitely pay-per-view of the year. Loved everything about it. Thought it was super well balanced, despite the best match of the night being the very first match. Every other match was still top tier in my opinion. So, can't say anything more about it. I think Full Gear was fantastic.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
So cheers to Full Gear. Boom.
Cheers, gears.
Clink. So the next award of the evening, Anthony, is a very personal one for us. It is the A2THEK interview of the year.
Oh shit.
It's a hard one because it's like picking between your favourite child, isn't it? Let's be honest. Obviously, we've had a few good ones, and it's a shame that we couldn't pick more. Obviously, we limited every category to 4 interviews. I would have loved to have put... I mean, it's a shame as well. Obviously, the Georgia interview that we just had missed out because Georgia's from last was actually technically 2020, and then we literally just interviewed Georgia, so Georgia wasn't eligible. But we had some fantastic ones, Lizzie, we had Stanley in there as well, which didn't make the cut.
Stanley, Adam Bomb,
Paffo. Adam Bomb, Lanny Paffo made the cut. But we've had, so many different ones. But
it's been such a fun year for interviews. And again, people we've said this time and time again that we try and get people that we absolutely love. So it's really, really, and I only say that, and I'm not saying that as we wouldn't interview it. I'm not trying to be thinking about it. It's just that we're not an interview podcast. So when we interview people, it's because we truly are massive fans of them, and that's what makes this so much harder. When we talk about it now, I would struggle to pick, and I assume this went out to the listeners as well. So hopefully they've made a solid choice, because I would really, really struggle with this. You could look in terms of caliber as legends. You can go, well, are people going to gravitate towards Mickey and DDP because they're probably the bigger names on the list, or I don't know. It's such a I can't pick, Carl. I can't pick. I'm just not even going to be part of this one.
I'm not doing it. No, to be fair, obviously this was solely decided by the audience on Instagram and other places that we put it. So it was interesting, obviously, whether this means this is the only ones that they've watched or whether it was their favourite. Who knows? But we tried to make it as fair as we could. We put them out there, but the nominees, Anthony, that we put out, we had Diamond Dallas Page, we had Mickey James, we had Brian Clark, and we had the genius himself, Lanny Poffo. They were the 4 interviews that went out. And so let's see who picked up the victory. It was, of course, Mickey James.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. There are so many reasons I love each and every one of our interviews we've done. But Mickey, I think maybe for our generation especially, you go back a bit further. And I do with WCW a little bit, so we both probably have more of an affinity for DDP as an example than maybe some of the younger fans who will know Mickey, and they'll know sort of the later years of Trish, but then they'll know more like Mickey and Michelle McCool and the Bellas and that sort of era. So I'm kind of not surprised that Mickey sort of tipped it in that sense. But on top of that, she's an absolute legend. Such a lovely and wonderful person as well. Hopefully I'm not speaking out of turn saying it, but there was a lot of that video, a lot of that interview we cut out because obviously we're a wrestling podcast and we're we have to try and edit it down and make sure it's condensed enough for those who are listening to listen to what she's talking about with NWA and so on like that. But I mean, how much of a lovely person is she? How lovely is her son and her family, and just how endearing are they all? And there were bits there where a little lad sort of joined in for a second, stuff like that, and it's just such a lovely experience, and what a gracious person, for someone at her caliber as well, to take the time to interview a comparatively small podcast when you compare us especially to the Big Fish. Absolutely amazing. I mean, all of them were, but fair enough.
I think
I couldn't have picked, so I'm glad somebody did.
I know, same. I think to your point, it's nice that they did pick that, and Mickey was just lovely in every way. I think it's worth noting as well.
Carl, but childhood crush as well, wasn't you?
Well, maybe a little bit. So big win for me. But I think what's worth noting as well, a bit of inside scoop for anyone listening to this, is we've been speaking to the likes of Diamond Dallas Page for a while. We've been speaking with Lanny Poffo. We've been speaking, to try and set something up. This was literally, I was on holiday in the Lake District.
Yeah, you literally, that was so I forgot about this, but that was such a mindfuck actually.
I literally got a message like the day before saying, yeah, she can do tomorrow. And I was coming home that day, and I was like, shit.
Like, you messaged me like while you're on holiday, like, oh shit.
I was like, we need to have some fuck questions for Mickie James because we're chatting to her tomorrow. And you were like, holy
because that's another little fact, guys. We talk a big game, but then when they go, yeah, okay, we're like, oh shit, we need some questions.
Well, I mean, it's like, to think about it, like you never think you're gonna interview somebody, like, obviously, and like to Anthony's point, we're not one of these podcasts who go around and go, let's fucking go out to everybody and whoever bites will come up with questions.
Yeah.
That's not how we work.
By the way, that's like, some podcasts are about interviews, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't mean that like derogatory.
We don't do interviews typically. We just we do them when we can get some people.
We are like we're like a variety show, aren't we? We try and offer different stuff. So obviously, like stuff
that's why
like
there's
this.
a juggler coming up shortly.
But like like literally, if there's someone that we think that we would love to speak to, then we will reach out. But it's very few and far between. That's why we're not actively chasing interviews. But the fact that she just like replied and was like, oh yeah, I can do tomorrow, and I was like, shit. Like that in itself, that we were able to turn this around so quickly in terms of okay, if we're speaking to Mickie James tomorrow, what is everything we want to know?
I would have loved to have spoken to her no matter when, but the fact that we could speak to her right before Empower, and we could talk to her about how impassioned she was about making that the biggest show she could, I think that made the interview a little bit special as well, to be honest.
Yeah. Such like a momentous occasion for her, like, to give back to women's wrestling in that way, and have it be such a success as well. It shone through the passion she had for it, and to your point as well, just seeing into her life, and just like, obviously we're parents as well, just like having a son come in and just like chat to us and show us, his trains and stuff like that. And
we're just there quietly like, do you know how cool your mum is?
I know, yeah. It's like, but like she's there just like, oh yeah, he just doesn't even care. Doesn't even care who I am.
That's the funny thing, because we legit asked her like, like, I can't remember quite how we phrased the question, but we got to that point where we were like, well, like, does he get how much of a big deal both her and Nick are? And like you say, kids are the most humbling fucking thing in the world, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah. But no, so in one way that I'm absolutely made up that Mickie won. I think it was amazing. It's still a very surreal moment to think that she gave up her time to chat with us and be on the show and stuff. So
a very busy time for her because she was promoting Empower.
So, well, exactly. So
absolutely privileged that we got to speak to her.
Yeah.
And I won't say too much else. Like, there's so much I want to say about the others, but we are slowly getting towards Christmas, and we typically like to do seasons beatings, Carl, in which we talk about our year, not just the interviews, but I do want to. There are bits I'd like to go into, certainly about Stanley, who was an amazing guy, and DDP, who I could have literally, I don't think I spoke much, but I could have listened to him all day. So we'll talk about that on seasons beatings, but absolutely, I'm glad someone was able to pick, because I really would have struggled.
No, definitely. Definitely tune into seasons beatings. It's obviously going to be our recap show, so we'll be chatting everything we've done over the last 12 months and what a roller coaster.
When we say recap show, it's not like there's some clips and then we just sit and do nothing.
I know, yeah. We're not going to phone it in. Like, we actually will be here recapping it. Like, to your point, like Stanley, like the forgotten ones, like Lizzie. Lizzie is absolutely smashing it. She's in the performance center in WWE at the moment and stuff. So it's
homegrown talent right there.
I love that we're able to kind of mix that up as well, and actually speak to people that we are invested in locally, but also people that we're invested in, in like the kind of big time and legends and stuff like that. So, so Mickie James, thank you again, absolutely well deserved. And obviously check out her podcast as well, because she's got her own, and it's pretty fantastic. So
grown ass women.
So the next one to talk about, Anthony, is heel of the year. Who's the baddest guy on the block? So, anyone come to mind?
MJF, maybe?
Okay. Well, Anthony, the nominees for this category are, we have Kenny Omega.
Okay.
We have Roman Reigns.
Okay.
We have Maxwell Jacob Freeman, MJF himself. And we have Seth Rollins.
Okay. So, I didn't think I'd say this, Carl. It's a really tough choice again. I can't pick a winner, but I would definitely say I actually think that Omega might be the weakest one here.
Interesting. I think you might be right, to be fair.
Like, don't be wrong, he plays a really good heel, but not in the same way.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, the MJF, Roman, and Seth, to me, all excel past him on the heel front. And that's not to say he's a bad heel. But
I think with Omega, he's very up and down. He had some fantastic heel moments, that, like, stealing the belt, running off with Don Callis and stuff like that. Like, that was amazing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely amazing.
It was a standout moment for last year, or for this year. But
he counterbalances it not too much. I'm not criticizing his heel work, but he counterbalances it so much with comedy that it's not quite the same.
No, and it was like to your point then, comedy wise, like trying to find his feet with doing a reading in the library and stuff like that. It was like, what was that about? He's had some very up and down moments. So yeah, I agree with that. But ultimately, what did the mass decide? What did the combination of us and the public think about this? So drum roll. The winner is, of course, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Heel of the year.
Fair enough.
I mean, yeah, to be a heel, you've really got to, live that persona, that character. And
one thing I'll give him, like the other two, like it's a really tough choice. Like Roman, we've said very early on, has been killing it as a heel. Seth makes a fantastic smarmy asshole of a heel. So they're both deserve to be up there, and it would have been a really tough choice. But as you say, MJF lives that life. I don't think I've ever seen him out of character at any point.
No. So well done, MJF. Big up to you. Cheers.
Big ups.
Heel of the year. Next one, Babyface of the year, Anthony. This is the penultimate award of the night. We have, who do you think's up there for Babyface of the year?
I'm struggling. I'll be honest. I'm thinking Cody shouldn't be.
He fucking isn't.
Maybe Darby.
Maybe.
Who have we got? Drew, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. I'm actually struggling to think of decent baby. No offense to them, but
let me put you out your misery, Anthony. The nominees for Babyface of the year. We have Hangman Adam Page. We have Big E. We have Darby Allin. And we have Drew McIntyre.
I mean, no offense. This is an easy choice for me. I'd pick Drew. The only issue I've got with Hangman, he spent a fair bit of time out this year. No disrespect, he totally should have. He just had a kid and all that. So, of the year, not necessarily. And that is a pinicky point, but, Big E, again, probably a personal preference because I've not been too big on Big E. He's regular E to me,
Darby Allin, personal preference. I fucking hate that
Darby Allin. Yeah. I'll say nothing. Carl keeps perpetuating
he hates that
a falsehood that I'm not a fan of the guy, but it is what it is.
I think though counter argument to Drew is he has been babyface for the year, but the fans have not always viewed him as a babyface for the year.
That's true. I'd be interested to see where this goes because, like you say, that's a personal preference. Everything I've said has been pretty much a personal preference there. So,
personal preference-wise, I've got a thing for Drew. So, personal preference-wise,
you love your big Scottish men.
I do. Big men slapping meat. That's me. But let's see, Anthony. Let's see what the outcome is. Drum roll, please. The winner is, of course, Hangman Adam Page.
Okay.
So, yeah, interesting point that you raised there. Obviously, he was away for a big portion of the year. I mean, maybe not big portion, but he was away for a couple of months.
Yeah.
But I suppose at the same time, he never really strayed away from that babyface character. And ultimately ended up getting the ultimate payoff in seeing that story come to fruition. So, it does make sense.
I won't dispute it. again, when you're trying to pick, you have to like be slightly pernickety about things, but because that is only a man in nitpick that he wasn't there for the whole year. But
yeah,
he definitely deserves it.
Yeah, I think for what it's worth, I voted him as Babyface of the year as well. I think it's really tough competition for babyfaces at the minute. People don't really seem to want to cheer the good guys. So I think
don't say that, Cody. Cody will believe you.
So, God, yeah, it's a very good point. But no, I think to be fair, Hangman always stayed true to his character arc, and was always over as a babyface. So I think it's the right choice. So well done, Hangman Adam Page. Congratulations on your A2THEKNIES, which Anthony leads us on to the final award of the night, and it is Promotion of the Year.
Oh,
it's a biggie. This is it.
This has probably cut our audience in half.
Oh yes.
I'd be very curious how the votes went on this. This must have been neck and neck.
Oh,
some people just hate AEW for the hell of it.
It was
and
tight.
Vice versa.
It was tight, I tell you. But Anthony, of course, we have to nominate 4 promotions. Do you care to take a guess? Obviously, we've got the big 2. We know the big 2 are up
the
there.
big 2 are in there. I'd be very surprised if you haven't listed NWA, because they have been killing it, especially with the likes of Empower. And obviously, apologies if I forget what the other one was called, but the throwback with Ric Flair and the like. What was that called?
73?
73, thank you. So NWA, I feel, has got to be in there. And then beyond that, like, maybe Impact, because they're the work they've done cross promotion with AEW might have pipped them as being like in the running. But
well, Anthony, let me tell you, you're absolutely bloody right.
Nice.
I think GCW were just on the outskirts, but yes, we have WWE, we have AEW, we have Impact and NWA. But to your point, controversial, because despite there being 4 listed, I think we all know it's probably a 2-horse race. But the question is, who came out on top in that race?
It's a shame, because I do want to give NWA a lot of credit for what they've done, especially during the pandemic, for such a small promotion compared. Mm-hmm. Like, they've absolutely killed it. And it's a shame because, I get it from a wider audience point of view. Most people are going to go WWE or AEW, so you're quite right, it's a 2-horse race. For me, in terms of what I've enjoyed consistently throughout the year, what I've enjoyed in terms of number of pay-per-views I've enjoyed, etc., it'd probably be AEW for me.
Okay.
But Anthony, a very, very tough choice.
Let us, the final A2THEKNIES of the night, of the year. Let us do a drum roll and find out who is the promotion of the year. It is, of course, All Elite Wrestling, AEW, promotion of the year, and I think very well deserved.
Yeah. It's again, I think the right choice. I don't know, people instinctively want to love one over the other. Some people won't give AEW a chance. Some people are overly critical of WWE at times. We probably fall into the overly critical category ourselves at times, but we are both trying to be as fair as possible and trying to be as balanced as possible when we talk about shows. I know it doesn't seem it sometimes, but we do. We watch WWE consistently, and we wish the best. Just some things frustrate us because we've been watching it that long. But I think if you look at overall quality of storylines, quality of pay-per-views, etc., to me, it just makes sense.
Yeah, I think we're long past AEW being the shiny new thing that is on the block that, we're like, oh, but, we need to gravitate towards that because, it's new and it's shiny. I think, I've been watching WWE since 1982. I'm never going to not watch WWE. I am a WWE guy through and through. It's never going to change. Rumble, we will watch it every year. WrestleMania, we will watch it every year. It will never stop, right?
Indeed.
But you can't argue that WWE seemingly doesn't seem to have any long-term storytelling or master plan in what they are doing.
Even the long-term stories they've had have been purely accidental.
Yeah, 100% they have. I mean, a slight sidebar because it's very personal and it's been recent in terms of our conversation with Georgia. But like Davey Boy Smith Jr., Like, they literally signed him with no intention of how they were going to use him. They don't have a long-term strategy. And
how do you not? He's the son of Davey Boy Smith.
Yeah, it's
like an absolute legend in WWE.
Yeah.
And the story just wrote itself straight away, straight out the gate. He could have come in following that legacy. Like, I don't know what it is with WWE and legacy, not to digress, but like, because they've, like, if you look at second generation or even third generation, they tend to like struggle a little bit to let them lean into that heritage. I'm not sure what that is, but
yeah, it's very weird. But no, I think it's one of those things. Obviously, we hope that WWE are gonna get back to doing what they do best, but you know, when they're tearing up the script for Monday Night Raw the day of and like rewriting it on the fly, you know, it goes to show there's no long-term vision there, and you only have to look at some of the stories that have been told over AEW over the last 12 months.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, again, this isn't an opportunity. This isn't like, let's take an opportunity to moan about WWE, but even look at like Carrion was shit hot on NXT, and then they're like, well, let's make you kind of a gladiator, or what? And it's like, what are you doing? Like with that kind of like storytelling and creative, it's so hard to go, yeah, you're definitely the promotion. There was so much strange decisions going on. I still can't fathom.
Bloody mental. But yeah, AEW, you know, promotion of the year. I know that's going to be very Marmite. Some people will love it, some people will hate it, but them's be the awards. And so please let us know in the comments of this video, of our Instagram, anywhere else that we post this. Let us know your thoughts.
I will. One little favour though, and obviously we're talking about the awards as a whole, but if you do want to comment or you do want to have an opinion on specifically this last one, the promotion of the year, I want to just let you know now, neither Carl nor me care about viewership.
Oh yeah.
So if the response or the dispute is, well, WWE pulled in 10 million, or no, sorry, SmackDown pulled in 2 million viewers, don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care about the demo either. By the way, it's
much of a much. Don't be wrong. We know that Chris Jericho started this demo bullshit, right? Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's not about that.
Yeah, you know, sure, you know, marketing execs love the demo because they can market to them people, and so yeah, it's a small victory, I guess, if you get better demo.
Therefore, a small victory on our part.
back to Babyface, man. Check it out, guys. But no, legit. We love wrestling. It's why we're not called the A2THEK AEW show. It's why we're not called the A2THEK WWE show. We watch wrestling of all shapes and sizes. We try and watch as much of it as we can. Obviously, we are busy, you know, parents and have other jobs, so we can't watch as much of it as we want to.
And this is the funny thing. This shows you that we do still have a love for WWE, because we could just abandon it and watch NWA, Ring of Honor, New Japan. We could pull in so many different indie promotions, but we don't, because we want to stick with WWE. We still love it as much as we can be critical.
Yeah, and I think, you know, obviously people can be very fickle and be like, that's it, I'm never watching WWE again and stuff like that. And it's like, I genuinely watch it because I hope they bounce back. I don't watch it to go, I want to tear these guys apart. I watch it because I want them to be boss, because I want to watch boss programming. Like, who doesn't want to watch a great show? You don't want to watch it to bitch about something. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not been fantastic, and I think it's very fair that AEW has won. And, you know, it has been the promotion of the year. I think in terms of the stories it's told, in terms of the surprises, the acquisitions, everything really. I can't really see anybody denying that. So very well done to AEW, and that is it. That is the A2THEKnies 2021, the second annual A2THEKnies, Anthony. How do you feel? It's been an emotional night.
It has. I mean, I made up with the turnouts, you know. I made up that everyone dressed up. You know, that there was a buffet on. That's fantastic. You know, I really think we've gone all out. Yeah, I'm gone. Gone all out this year. So I absolutely made up. But no, these are always fun. I always like to see especially this year, because I think last year it was down to our decision. I think this year is when we put it out to the public, and it's been interesting to see sort of how similar everyone's actually thinking. I know there's some choices that are tough choices, but it's interesting to see how unanimous some things have been as well.
Yeah, and I think, you know, just on that, just a massive thank you to anyone who voted in.
Indeed.
Obviously, you know, coming up with the outcomes of these awards and stuff like that. Like, we want to incorporate you guys as much as we can. Obviously, we do this with the prediction series. We want to do it with award shows like this, and any other way that we can, really. So we do appreciate it. So yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, we'll always love the participation.
Absolutely. And that's it. That is the second annual A2THEKnies. We are the A2THEK Wrestling Show, and yeah, thank you once again. We'll be back with some more awesome stuff after after these lovely words from AEW's Griff Garrison. So take it easy.
Griff.
This is Griff Garrison, and you're listening to A to the K.
A to the K. A to the K.
A to the K.